What made me want to be a pixel biologist? Now that is a very good question, Glitter Girl. Alright everyone, hello and welcome back to In the Meadow, our very relaxing Q&A series where we wander this beautiful world answering some of the questions that you guys may have for me while we run along beside a whole bunch of really fun friends and we try to find some delicious flowers to eat and break open some rune stones so we can unlock more of the skins that our various animals can have and maybe even find some mushrooms to kick and some berries to eat. All in all, a very delightful game, and it makes for a wonderful backdrop to sharing a little bit of personal time with you guys. Being able to unwind and answer some of your questions and share some of my personal life and experiences with you. You are always welcome to leave more questions in the comments below, and I will make up a big list to go through and try to respond to them. May take us a while because you never know what kind of segue I'm going to end up going on with some of these questions. You truly feel comfortable to ask anything you feel is reasonable, and then hopefully hopefully I won't drown. Hopefully I will have a interesting answer for you guys. And by the way, thank you so much to all of you who have actually replied to the questions that people have sent in themselves down in the comments. Never ever feel pressured to reply to anything too personal, but especially for the fun questions like what your favorite bird is or your favorite slime and slime rancher. Oh my goodness, it's been so much fun. Oh gosh, they've almost got enough people. It's been so much fun to see what you guys would reply. It truly has been. So thank you so much for also answering the questions in the comments, because I get to learn more about you guys then and not just have it be like in one direction. Come on, giant runestone. You think this thing, oh, I think it's cracked open. Whoa, that's a lot of pieces. That's fantastic. I bet some people will be able to change their animals, or they might be able to change their coat color as a result. So that was really fun. But anyway, we opened up today with the very first question, and this question was actually from Glitter Girl, and it was, what made me want to be a pixel biologist? And you guys, honestly, I didn't get into this going, yes, I am going to begin YouTube, I am going to play games and discover animals and plants and teach people about them whilst we play video games, and I shall call myself the pixel biologist. No. I got into this completely by accident. A lot of you guys know my origin to YouTube story by now. But basically, I just started playing Sims, and my channel used to be called, and my username still is, Seri Sims. And so I used to just play Sims, and I wanted to have a easy, fast way to share my Sims story. But the thing is, I love gardening, I love plants, I love animals, and I love exploring in any capacity. I just think that this world is a beautiful place, and for me, art has always been part of my life. My mother was an artist, my grandmother was an artist, and I've always just felt like video games are a beautiful form of art that we get to examine our thoughts and our interpretations of the natural world in. So to me, it just is completely natural to love not only the really fun beauty that I can find in person, like that's really fantastic, going on walks and things like that, but also to love the beauty of places like this. I mean, isn't it beautiful objectively from an art point of view? But we kind of analyze and we think about any of the art that we look at, right? If your eyes are open, hopefully you're thinking about what you're looking at, right? So to me, being able to think about and look at the, oh, there's a nice little cave over there, the plants in a video game as a with the context of being a biologist in real life, studying biology in real life, is fun. It's just an extension of my love of the natural world. So I sort of became a pixel biologist because first and foremost, I am a biologist who loves studying biology, loves studying the natural world, and loves understanding how the trees grow, how frogs end up having frog babies, how plants grow, how they are pollinated. I am so curious. I want to know the how behind how the world comes together, because I often find some of the deepest beauty from understanding the world around me. Not just being part of it, not just looking at it, but I find that there's so much more beauty. You can see so much more of a context of how amazing this world is if you try to educate yourself in how it came to be. And for some people, you might educate yourself in how the beauty of this kind of virtual world would be by analyzing the art style. Some people might analyze the coding. Some people might analyze how it's consumed by people, why people watch it, why people play it, what they enjoy about it. And then you might be like me and love immersing yourself in worlds. So you might look around and go, I wonder what type of tree that would represent. I wonder what type of flower that this amazingly beautiful one that we're about to eat would be, and how would it grow? I love answering those kinds of questions. So that's why I'm a pixel biologist. It's just an extension of a natural love that I have of studying the world, of studying the natural world, and my love of biology. And I am a pixel biologist now because I figured it's easier, especially when I didn't have a very good camera, easier to kind of unite my love of video games and plants than it was to just show you guys straight up plants, like in real life with vlogging. So that's kind of how we got here. And related to that question is little Kay, who wants to know, Seri, what makes you want to explore? What makes you feel like there's more out there? And that was a really good question, little Kay. Oh my gosh, like very deep, very profound, really asks a lot right there. Like, what makes me want to go out and explore? And honestly, I think now, like right now, I'm actually thinking, oh, it's such a beautiful autumn day. I want to go walking in the woods. I'm probably going to vlog walking in the woods and put up a vlog of it on the vlog channel right after I finish doing this. But I was trying to think through what makes me want to go out? What makes me want to go see what a beautiful... In fact, let's head towards the autumn woods in the game, because that would be really fun. What makes me want to go out there? Because once upon a time, I didn't want to go outside. I tell that story all the time too. I didn't leave my house more than 7 times in 2 entire years when I was in my early 20s because I was so anxious and depressed, and I kind of daydreamed about a beautiful world that might be out there, but I didn't think I had the courage or the right to ever go and try to see that world. So what makes me now look out my window and go, I want to go on a walk. I want to go see what I might find in the forest. And I was actually having a conversation with my sister last night about traveling. And I think that kind of brought a bit of an answer to light, because my sister asked me, all right, if you could move anywhere in the world, where would you go? And I thought about it for a little bit, and then I shrugged and I was like, you know what? I would pretty much go anywhere. As long as I was with Chips, I think it'd be an adventure. And she rolled her eyes and she was like, yeah, that's really romantic. But I mean, seriously, don't you have a preference of like being by the ocean or being in the mountains? And I thought about it. And if you had asked me before I had ended up going to Taiwan, I would have said, oh, I couldn't be in a big city. I have to absolutely be somewhere where there's lots of trees. And I do still prefer trees, but being in Taipei over the summer and getting to understand the adventures that a big city has to offer made me realize I really don't know what I'm going to enjoy when it comes to adventuring out there in the world. And that really going outside and wanting to explore, that kind of urge is different than going, oh, I love forest, so I only want to go see forest. That kind of urge to explore and discover, I think, comes from a willingness to be curious, a willingness to make mistakes, a willingness to just go and find an adventure. And until I got a lot more confidence, until I realized it didn't matter if people thought I was silly, it didn't matter if people thought what I loved was dumb, it didn't matter as long as I was having a good time. Until I got to that point, so I wasn't scared to leave my house anymore, I couldn't have dreamed about having this sense of adventure and exploration. And then when I did have the sense of like, well, maybe the outside world isn't so bad, I used to have this laundry list of like, oh, I would only travel to this place or this place or this place. And now, after being in Asia and being in a big city and actually having major ups and downs, but having had an adventure while I was in that big city, I realize what makes me want to explore isn't just a love of trees, isn't just a love of nature, isn't just a love of going outside and finding plants and birds, though those things are definitely very, very strong in my life. What makes me want to explore is just a sense of open curiosity and a willingness to see what's out there, and a willingness that comes with that to go on an adventure and make mistakes and just want to see what's there. That's what I'm really all about actually now. So that may be a little confusing, so let me try to sum it up. What makes me want to explore? Once upon a time, I would have said, oh, how beautiful the trees are, how beautiful birds are. I would have had this list of really specific things I wanted to go see. But now I realize, actually, what makes me want to go and explore is a willingness to adventure. And to have a willingness to adventure, I had to have a little bit more self-confidence. And I also definitely had to have a willingness to make mistakes. You learn you don't go out to adventure just to achieve something. You go out to adventure kind of to pursue the straight up adventure of it, and that means things are going to suck sometimes, and things are going to be really amazing sometimes, and beautiful sometimes, and ugly sometimes. But I have that spirit of adventure in me now. Even though I'm still very, very much in love with when I'm home, I'm very happy to be at home too. So that was a little bit messy. I apologize. It's always distracting to run about and chase people in Meadow. Open! Open sesame! Runestone. Oh yay! Yes! Alright! Guys, I think we have a new color. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and change to it. We're a pumpkin bunny! Look at me! That's so cool. I'm a pumpkin bunny now. I love it. Wow. Alright. Well, let's keep looking for more runestones. Let's see if what we can find. Also, was that fox here the whole time? That's so interesting. All right, well, let's go this way. So, yeah, what makes me want to explore? What makes you guys want to explore? Like I said, I used to have a laundry list. I would have said finding more birds, and those things are definitely still there. But now, honestly, what makes me want to explore is just going outside and feeling comfortable and confident enough that I'll find a story. I guess it's kind of like the guy who does the pictures of the people of New York sort of stuff. He just knows that he's going to find a story. He goes outside with his camera and he just knows somewhere out there he's going to meet someone to take a picture of and to learn their story, and it's going to be pretty amazing, even if he doesn't know what the picture is going to look like or who the subject is going to be. And that's where I've gotten to this point in my life. I have my camera. I have my self-confidence that even if a situation gets kind of tricky, I can probably get myself out of it. And I have my faith that there are adventures to be found out there. I don't know what they're going to be. I don't know what they're going to do for me. I don't know what they're going to be like. But I'm willing to explore. I'm willing to open myself up to whatever comes. And I only think that's possible now because I have so much confidence in being able to handle my life, because I know who I am more, and because I know what I want out of life, and because I know I'm going to have a safe home to return to. So if you don't have that kind of open-ended, I don't know what I want to do, but I just want to go out and explore sort of feeling in your life right now, I encourage you to try to build up those things. A bit of confidence, a little bit of a sense of you can get yourself out of, you have the resources to get yourself out of situations that might get a little bit hairy, and then just letting go of your expectations. I think that's the best way to go on an adventure, or even just a walk in the forest, is to just let go of your expectations and just be thrilled at whatever comes your way. A cool looking rock, an interesting mushroom, a funny barking squirrel. Just let go of whatever expectations, whatever demands you might have before you even walk out the door of what you want to see, and just accept what comes your way, and you're going to be so much happier because it's going to be a real adventure then. It won't be disappointment of like, I didn't see this bird I really wanted to see. You'll be able to focus on all the things you did see instead of the things that you didn't and you're disappointed about. So that willingness to let go and just accept whatever happens is definitely a key to a good adventure. Phew! All right, and then Cherryfall asked, Seri, who inspired you to be a YouTuber and animal biologist? And I think I've answered that pretty thoroughly in previous questions, so let me know if I need to like attack that question again. But oh, and here's a runestone. Let's see if the group followed us or not. But, oh yay, there's my dear friend. All right, and we cracked this puppy open. Awesome. Yay! All right. Oh, I hope the fox got it too. Yay, I heard the sound. The fox got it as well. Wonderful. But yeah, that would be what inspired me to be a YouTuber. It was just an easier way to share my Sims stories, and then it has morphed into so much more. But I actually didn't really follow YouTubers. There was just Jessa who did YouTube or Sims 2 videos at the time. I followed her. And that was about it. Actually, I didn't know other people did YouTube when I started YouTube. I honestly didn't. Quite the adventure for me, trust me. And then an animal biologist. Actually, my family discouraged me from studying animal biology when I first really got into university, and that's what I wanted to do, because my mom especially was very adamant that there would be no jobs in it. That there was no money to be had in researching like animal biology, because she couldn't think of anything. Now I know there's tons of possible careers I could have gone on, but they definitely weren't, oh my gosh, there's so many mushrooms here, I'm in heaven. But they definitely weren't very keen on me studying animal biology. However, funny thing happens, people can suggest jobs for you to do pretty much your whole life. Like everything you do, people will have an opinion on the kind of jobs you can do. What made me want to be an animal biologist was less the job description and the idea of the job, and more the fact that you just cannot keep me away from wanting to learn more about animals. You cannot keep me away from wanting to research about the world and understand how it works and why it works, because my curiosity just never stops, and it is a part of myself that I have never really tried to quash. I have chased myself away from things before, told myself I wasn't good enough to I don't know, be a model, told myself I wasn't good enough to be an artist. There's a lot of things out there that, especially when you're younger and still building up your confidence, you don't realize it at the time, but you tell yourself you're not good enough to do. And so you miss out on. And then there's curiosity. And it's really impossible. Well, you could probably do it, but it's a lot harder to tell yourself, don't be curious, versus tell yourself other things that make you stop growing. And I never told myself not to be curious. I used my daydreaming as an escape from feeling stressed out, and daydreaming and curiosity kind of can go hand in hand. And then voila, I wanted to know how the world worked. And I just continue to want to know how the world works. And it's evolved into following a path for researching biology. So I wanted to become an animal biologist because I'm curious, and I've never quashed that curiosity, and I'm so grateful and thankful for that now. I've never lost that sense of wanting to know more about the world, and that's why I want to be an animal biologist. Or that's, well, like I originally, and now it's grown into wanting to just inspire others to become animal biologists, because this world is a big, beautiful place, and I love sharing it with you guys and getting you guys excited about it and seeing that curiosity grow. So I hope that made sense too. Goodness, I'm all over the place today because there's just so much mushrooms. It's so beautiful and so distracting. And you guys are asking hard questions today too. Oh my goodness. All these questions about like what I want out of life and what inspired me to become this or that. And in the end, guys, if you haven't noticed, the rambling I've done for 20 minutes literally boils down to building up a sense of healthy self-confidence in myself, following my curiosity, and not having a lot of expectations about what the world is going to offer me. Just going into it with an open mind and an open heart, and that's kind of what's transformed everything. So pursuing what just answered to my own interest with full-hearted abandonment and staying curious. So I've rambled so much. I'm sorry, guys. It's a little tricky to try to wrap my thoughts around these kinds of questions when I'm also trying to, you know, chase down runestones and find people to run with and all sorts of chaos. But alright, let's see. Oh, and then MILF Plays actually asked, have you ever taught kids before? Would you tell us about the experience? If you haven't, would that be something you do in the future? And yeah, I have taught kids before. I've actually talked a lot about that experience. I was a cave ecology teacher at a nonprofit in Kansas City for a couple years, and it was amazing, and I loved it. And it to date is my favorite job other than this, and it's really what helped to transform my life. But I've actually talked a lot about that job and that subject in some of my previous Q&A videos, so I highly recommend you check out our In the Greenhouse Ramble series. Those were our previous Q&As, and I really talk about my job working as a teacher and what it was like, and how I went from being completely shy and like hardly ever able to talk to one person in retail to suddenly on my second day on the job as a teacher, there I was patting myself on the back for having the courage to talk to my classroom of 18 to 20 kids. And all of a sudden they're like, okay, you need to lead the lunchroom speech now. And they literally just pushed me out on stage in front of 500 people. And I didn't even know what speech they were talking about. I had to make it up as I went. It was amazingly hard. And only my love of biology and my love of looking out and going, I'm terrified out of my mind, but these are 5,000 minds that I might be able to teach recycling to, kept me going. So I talk about all of those things a lot in the other Greenhouse Rambling series. So I highly recommend checking that out if you want to know more about baby Seri when she was still a shy wee little thing and starting her first like big burst of growth. Definitely worth looking into. All right, and then Kestrel Space actually asks, as a former biology teacher, what was the best and worst thing about teaching? Oh my gosh, you guys really want to know about this. This is like literally one after another of these big questions about when I was a teacher. I'm going to try to keep this one brief because, again, you can go back to the old Greenhouse Rambling series and there's a lot to share with you guys about what it was like being a teacher. But honestly, the best thing about teaching was seeing kids' eyes light up with curiosity. That's really an ambiguous kind of answer, isn't it? Like, what does that look like, Seri? When I would hand a kid a snake for the first time and they would look at me and they would be so proud. You could just see it on their face. They were blown away. They're like, I'm holding a snake! Like, they couldn't believe it. They had never held a snake before. They had never touched a snake before. They had heard all these things about how dangerous snakes were and how bad snakes were. And here I am telling them snakes are not innately dangerous. Here's a safe one that's non-venomous. Here's one you can hold. Here's how you hold it so you don't hurt it. And their faces would just be absolutely jubilant. They were so excited. They were so happy. And that feeling of connecting somebody with a part of this amazingly beautiful world that we all share that they had never been connected with before, that is what encouraging curiosity is. That light up in their eyes, that way of seeing somebody lose themselves with the sheer excitement of discovering something new about this world. That is what I love about teaching. That is what I love about what I do. That is what I absolutely adore about how beautiful this world is. So being able to see that curiosity encouraged, even if it was often with doing this and telling you guys adventures in YouTube, the thing that I find so fascinating is I'll get a lot of comments and letters and emails and messages from people who say, yeah, when you mentioned that fact about giraffes, it interested me so much. Like a random fact I would mention offhand, just as a little like two second thing, like 2 sentences I would say about this fact when I wasn't even really thinking about it while playing Minecraft or playing Zoo Tycoon 2. And then this person would write in just to give a generalized example. And they'd be like, that fact was so cool. I actually looked up more about giraffes and now I have done a whole paper on them. And my mom and dad were so excited that I started talking about them that we're going on a safari. Those kinds of things have actually happened. But being able just to provide excitement about the beauty of the natural world and have no idea what kind of curiosity it's going to set off, that's what I love. Excitement and passion and curiosity about the natural world. If you just throw it out there, it's going to land like a little seed in somebody else's life and grow in directions that you just have no idea where it's going to go. And that's true for what I do now, and that's true for when I was a teacher. And I think that's a really powerful thing. And then what was the worst thing about teaching? Hands down, the kids I couldn't reach. Hands down, without fail. The kids who you couldn't reach for their curiosity, that's truly like the worst memories, like the most heartbreaking memories that I have of when I was a teacher. The kids who you could already see that their guard was up. They didn't trust people. They didn't like people. They wanted to, or they would often like harass the other students. They wanted to see the other students. They especially wanted to see you as the adult uncomfortable and unhappy. They wanted to try to control the situation by making others around them really sad or miserable or angry. They really wanted to make you lose your temper. And those kids broke my heart because that told me a lot about what kind of home they came from. And those kids I couldn't reach. And I remember trying and trying, and it was like throwing yourself against a brick wall. Those kids weren't ready to have fun chats about the fact that bats are mammals and that their babies hold on to their backs when they're born. Those kids needed a kind of help that I wasn't and still am not qualified to give. And that broke my heart. And I just hope and pray and wish that there's somebody out there who could reach those kids and soften that armor that they had already put around their heart at like 8 or 9 or 10, 12 years old, and take it down so that they could open up their heart and their mind to being able to see the beauty of the world that we all share. Because it just makes me so sad to think that here the rest of the classroom would be so excited and tripping over themselves to get to hold a snake and to get to share what they know with each other about ecosystems and bragging about like, well, I'm the mammal, so I'm going to eat you, you insectivore. And then the kids would laugh and be like, no. And then there'd be that kid who I had to watch because if I let them hold the snake, they're going to try to hurt it because they want to see what they could do, how far they could go. And that's what broke my heart. So that was the hardest part of teaching. And it never was enough to drive me away from teaching, for sure. Probably because I also was studying child psychology at the time, and researching family development was a huge thing. So I understood what was happening from an objective point of view when I would get one of those kids in my class. And it broke my heart, but it didn't make me feel like I had to give up what I did for the rest of the students. And I never met a kid where I was. I never met a kid, because animals are such an amazing middle grounds, that I truly looked at and felt there's no redeeming this kid. There's no opening their heart up. There's never going to be any hope. I never, ever have met a kid where I truly feel there's not going to be any hope. And it's kind of funny because I would have said that many times about myself growing up, that there's no hope for me. I hate myself too much, and other people hate me too much, and now look at me. You know what I mean? So I guess that's the moral of the story there, is that was the hardest part of teaching. That was the worst part of teaching. But I don't think that it would have made me have to stop. I think that I would have had to go, okay, this is as much as I can do for this one person. I have to let go and just trust that there's going to be other people to try to catch them and help them as time goes on and they age and the world continues to move around them. But I never once looked at a kid and thought there's no hope for this person. And so I think that's a good thing. I think that's because I really feel like there's pretty much hope for you. Have to go really far and really hard before you get to the point where there's probably no hope left. And if I didn't reach it being as weird and self-nasty and hateful as I was when I was younger, then I think there's a lot of hope for everyone else to be able to take down the armor around your heart and just find what makes you happy, and find what makes you feel nice and curious, and find what makes you feel like you have a sense of awe and wonder for the world. So there we go. There's another ramble. Holy moly! There's another ramble, and there's a runestone that literally just popped up at my feet like a daisy. So I wasn't expecting that. Now I need to... Oh, there's a friend! Wasn't expecting a friend. So between me and the friend, we now get to end on this awesome note with one final runestone. So I apologize if I was a little bit more rambly than usual this time around, my friends. You threw some big questions at me this time, so I'm definitely going to try to go for some lighthearted questions next time. I hope to see more of you running alongside me in the meadow, and hopefully we'll get to share a little bit more that's maybe not quite so serious. about myself and my thoughts on life and about each other in the future. So I'll see you all then. Bye-bye.